Okay, there's one final shift I want to talk about that shapes the modern sense of self, or the modern subject, or that modern sense of I that we all have, or that we all experience, and that's called the civilizing process. The civilizing process is actually the title of a book by a sociologist by the name of Norbert Elias. And what Elias tried to trace was the way in which, in the medieval world, people, and we all still do this, but look up to their social betters in order to learn how to behave. And in the medieval world, when you looked up socially, you were looking up to the king and his court. That is, in order to try to move up to the extent you could move up in society in this changing early modern world, you had to do a couple things. Among them, principally, was to shut your mouth, listen, and ape and imitate the manners and the habits and the dress of those above you. We still do this today. If you've been through junior high, or if you've been through high school, you'll know what I'm talking about. The dynamic is exactly the same, which is that somewhere, somehow, someone finds themselves at the top of the social pyramid, popular girl or boy, and all of a sudden everyone starts doing the same thing they're doing, for no particular reason other than that they're imitating the person who happens to occupy the top of the social pyramid. But no sooner does everyone start imitating that person, and that person at the top of the social pyramid realizes, in order to maintain their distinctive state, they have to change something, wear different clothes, discover a new fad, etc., and the process starts all over again. Well, what Elias argued was that this process that you all know so well from junior high or high school, perhaps even now, functioned at court and in history. Everyone learned to shape and model their behavior by watching and imitating, and then controlling what they did and acting out various social performances. And hold still with that for a second. Think about it. In order to imitate someone properly, you have to watch quietly what they're doing and then enact it yourself, no matter how you're feeling, no matter how you're thinking about it, in order to pull off that kind of performance. Now, generally, when I say performance, we tend to think of deceit or lying, but in this case, it's a social necessity. That is, to move up in the world, you had to sort of control whatever emotions you had and act the way you were supposed to in order to be marked, to be distinctive like that group at court, that group at the top of the social pyramid. This process, this social process, has a way to, like the other ones we've looked at, the Reformation, the shift from medieval Catholicism to Christian humanism, and the shift from feudalism to capitalism, in that it forms or shapes a sense of self-control, a sense of the I. That is, there's always two things going on for you. There's always two parts of you. That is, the part of you that's watching and thinking and learning, right? And then the part of you that's more social, that's performing. This is difficult to sort of communicate in an online class because chances are you're watching this. If you are watching it, you're watching it alone in a room where there are no social pressures. There are no gazes on you. You could be lying, doing whatever. But if we were in a traditional classroom, you would be sitting up straight at this point, looking in the eye, looking like a good student, even if you were completely fatigued, even if you were completely exhausted. The reason you would be doing that, of course, is that I'm the instructor, and you have a general sense at this point in your life you want to please the instructor, not overly, but you want to convince that person that you're interested in the course, just as a courtier in Shakespeare's time would have wanted to convince the person at court that they were interested in moving up in the world. This one's a bit more complicated and nuanced, but it's actually a transformation or shift which we're more familiar with because we do it every day. Think of your first day in a new job. You sit there, you look, you watch. What do people wear? When do they go to lunch? Where do they go to lunch? How do they talk to each other? And you shape your behavior. You shape your mannerisms by watching other people. Those mannerisms might not be natural to you. They might be not your preference, but you adopt them and you act. You perform, right? One of the reasons Shakespeare's stage was so important was it gave a general population a chance to see how people at court performed, how they acted, right? How to be literally in the world. That's one part of it. But the part I want you to think about for right now at these first, as we start into the course, is again, this is one of these social processes going on that force people to attend to their inner consciousness. It forces them to attend to that inner sense of self, which says, you know what? I'm going to control what I say. I'm going to control how I act. I'm going to control the way I look. I'm going to put on the right show in order to get the most benefit for myself.